one match apiece in the overall tie after the first men's singles and the first men's doubles. So naturally we turn our attention to the second men's singles, and it's Kenta Nishimoto for Japan up against Hans-Kristian Solberg from Denmark. Well, Kenta Nishimoto caused a sensation last year at the French Super Series event. He came through the qualifying to reach the final. Lost out to Vittinghus in that final in Paris. But Vittinghus himself has won a Super Series title. That was the Australian Open of 2016. And of course the Super Series in badminton is the elite tier of tournaments, or at least it was until the beginning of this year. There's Mads Colling, normal partner of Mads Conrad. And we now have the new HSBC BWF World Tour. So, of course, for players to have won Super Series titles or been in Super Series finals, that is a measure of their capabilities. And it's nice to see Kenta Nishimoto back supporting teammates. Obviously done his warm down and had his shower. Well, Japanese men's singles have become a real force in world terms. They've got 3 current players who have all been in Super Series tournament finals. Of course, Kenta Nishimoto, who we saw in the very first match.
Sakai.
That's the one. And do you remember which final he was in? He's been in 2 actually.
Indonesia Open against Srikanth Kadambi in 2017.
And then the, well, it's not a Super Series, the Indonesian Masters earlier this year. So he likes playing in Indonesia, I think we can assume from that.
And he's here, but not selected for the team.
No.
Okay, let's toss black and
well, this is
white.
the third meeting between the 2 players, as
Right,
you can
so you're
see.
black.
And the last time they met was in the semi-final of the Malaysian Masters
Black.
earlier this year.
Court,
And
serve.
Nishimoto won through in 2 straight games, as you saw, 44 minutes for that last meeting. And then Nishimoto then lost in the final in Kuala Lumpur at the Malaysian Masters to Victor Axelsen. So a huge responsibility on the shoulders of both of these men. 23 years of age, Nishimoto from Mia on the southeast coast of Honshu, the main island of Honshu. 1 place down from his career high of 13. And very interestingly, he wasn't selected for the quarter-final yesterday against France, and I wonder whether that was to rest him for today's semi-final, because of course Japan were overwhelming favourites against France yesterday in the quarter-final stage. His 3 group matches, as you just saw, were all won, although he did go to 3 games against the German Kai Schäfer. So to Hans-Kristian Vittinghus, 32 years of age now, has been as high as number 8 in the world, a total of 11 weeks at number 8, but currently 25. Bronze medalist from the European Championships last year, where he lost out in the semi-final stage to Rajiv Usif, who went on to win gold. Now, he wasn't selected on Monday against Algeria, or on Tuesday against Russia. He beat the left-handed Sergei Seran. And then on Wednesday against Li Xia, he was up in both games. 16-12 up in the first, which he lost to 18, and then 16-6 up in the second, which he also lost 2:18. He was selected yesterday for the quarterfinal and won the winning, what turned out to be the winning match of the tie. It was the third match when he beat Lee Dong-kyung, an hour and 5 minutes in 3 games, and that meant that Denmark won that quarterfinal tie 3-love. So our court officials for this one: Liu Yun from China and Jitarut Tanuakarapat from Thailand, the service judge.
Ladies and gentlemen, on my right, Japan, represented by Nishimoto Kenta. And on my left, Denmark, represented by Hans-Kristian Solberg. Denmark to serve, level, play.
So Denmark get this,
Let
oh, well, not quite get this second men's singles underway.
That's clever. Get the first point before your opponent is ready.
Absolutely delightful. Now, Steen, I've just been mentioning Vittinghus against Lee Xia of Malaysia, being so far up, especially in the second game, but up in the first game as well. And I think that it was very important that Vittinghus had that win yesterday against Lee Dong-kyung to put that previous match against Malaysia out of his mind. I don't know whether you lose confidence when you've been so far up and it's seen as not a choke, but I mean, what on earth went wrong? We don't know. It was a choke.
Vittinghus said to Danish television that he only had himself to blame for that defeat against Lee Xia. He made so many unforced errors and couldn't do that.
Oh, just out.
And I totally agree. It was extremely important that he got that win yesterday. Got the same feeling as he had 2 years ago, standing there and the umpire says match won by, and you're standing with your arms out to your side and your racket's dropping and you secured the tie for Denmark. Extremely important feeling. I don't think he played that well in the match yesterday and the day before that, but maybe we should also search for the explanation to that. Back in Denmark, he recently became a father to a son, Vincent, and wasn't selected for the European Championships, which he was very disappointed over. National coaches chose Rasmus Gemke instead, and Vittinghus was in shock. He didn't see it coming at all. So even if he's selected for the Thomas Cup here, I think it hurts the feelings and it hurts the self-confidence, because I mean, the message you get is that the coaches are not really seeing you as winning the European Championships, and I think that takes its toll on the players.
Yeah. So
definitely wanted not only to win the match, but also to prove to the coaches that he's the natural choice, and that sort of messed things up against Lee Xia.
I was going to say, what? Obviously, you know his character much better than me. Is he the sort of person that reacts in a way, I will show them that I should have been selected for the European Championships, or will he feel the pressure that he has to prove himself again?
Yeah, Yeah, I think a little bit of both. I think probably the first, but silently inside himself. Sometimes he's been a little bit too rational in his badminton career. Sometimes it's really good to have, in terms of winning badminton matches, to think that you're a little bit better than you are. Vittinghus is very realistic, and it hurts him sometimes. And
yes,
one of the things that he's been struggling with is that he thinks too much about things, points, and there was a point against the DCG. He was leading 14-8 and missed the service, and it seemed to get to him instead of brush it off. It's just 1 point. You're way ahead. So with all that in mind, and the last encounter, Kenta Nishimoto must be the favorite in this match. However, we should not neglect the chances that Vittinghus gets into his Thomas Cup hero mode and suddenly gets things rolling. But it's good a position he's playing. And I think that, as you said, Jill, the reason he was not selected yesterday against France was partly a rest. I've seen him with a bag of ice on his knee, his right knee, Nishimoto, but also to test Kazumasa Sakai, who is the third-ranked men's singles player with the Japanese team. He was allowed to play against France, and he didn't deliver. He lost to Luca Covey. So I think that was the reason also behind it, sort of see where do our players stand. I think Kenta Sonoyama is the preferred third men's singles. That's also the one they fielded today against Denmark.
Well, it's been a good start for Nishimoto. 5-point advantage. Vittinghus was expecting the lift to the back of the court. Suddenly, a little flick of the racket head and plays a cross-court net shot. Brilliant. I find it fascinating what you just said about Vittinghus, Steen, because I've always thought of Vittinghus as such a fighter in his style of play. I wouldn't be at all surprised if we see him throwing himself around the court in an effort to retrieve the shuttle during this match today. And yet, you've just said that one little thing can make him, like the missed return of serve, can throw him completely. And that he doesn't have belief. Surely a fighter is somebody who believes, I can still come back, I can still win this. And it's almost contradictory that he can be so fragile in one way, that one incident can affect him so badly. Yeah, but
I mean, it's because he's a thoughtful person, is engaged in a number of things, has been representative for the Players Union and supports Solibad, stuff like that. So he's a thoughtful person and a very, very nice person outside court. Sometimes on court, you have to forget about that. That was the case with the now president of the BWF, Tor Erik Høyer, who was told by his coaches back then in the mid-90s to become a little bit more of a bad boy on court.
And by bad boy, I mean not, you know, hurling abuse or hurling rackets or anything. Just, you know, when you sense your opponent is down, that's when you push harder. And if you see that your opponent is injured, move them more. And it's not been nasty, it's just been, that's what you need in sport.
And we talked about it in the first men's singles with this on-court presence, where the aura of Kento Momota is putting a little bit of pressure on the opponent. They're a little bit intimidated.
Yeah.
Without him doing anything illegal or anything.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, well played, Vittinghus. It was a good rally. Good defensive shot on the forehand side. Very difficult full stretch to get the lift deep in court. Or drive, I'm not sure if you call that a lift, it was more of a drive, wasn't it? Well, it's a 6-point advantage to Kenta Nishimoto. We're at the mid-game interval. So just asking for the shuttle to be changed before play resumes.
11-5. Play.
I think Nishimoto is a player that's, in general, underestimated. When you think that he's beaten Lee Chong-wei twice, Shi Uchi, the All-England champion now, he's beaten Victor Axelsen, he's beaten Son Wan-ho. But he's a player that if you said who's got a chance at the next World Tour events, you probably wouldn't be naming him.
No, you would be naming him amongst the outsiders, the ones that could beat some of the higher ranked, top ranked players in the world, but probably wasn't going to win the whole tournament.
Yeah, that's landed in. On the back line.
So you could say at the moment he, in my opinion, works really, really hard for his victories. I don't know if he's going to work hard today, but when we see him in tournaments, he's made to work really hard for his tournaments, uses a lot of energy, and I think he needs to find a way to sometimes get by a little easier in some of the matches.
Don't believe it. Well, the net cords from Nishimoto was replied with the most perfect cross-court net shot from Vittinghus. Look at this. How on earth did Vittinghus return that, let alone play the perfect cross-court net? Extraordinary.
Vittinghus there.
Oh, challenge here from Nishimoto.
Challengers called out.
Clearly out. So they both only have one challenge left in this opening game.
Remaining. 10-12 play.
5 straight points for Vittinghus. Complete miss hit.
And that's the kind of miss hit that you have to shake off within 10 seconds after you've made it.
Yes, you can't allow this to be the equivalent of the return of serve miss.
Because if you do that, you can so easily convince yourself that it's also very, very difficult conditions to play under. But that's not what you need. You need to play on, believing that you're actually able to play well. And I think Vittinghus has played well from the beginning of this first game, especially here after the interval, actually.
Of the last 7 points now. Well, again, he serves when Nishimoto is not ready.
Get ready quicker. Please wait when she is ready.
Good shot.
Yes.
And that's Vittinghus when he's best.
When he's been more proactive.
Yeah, when he's not taking too big chances early in the rally to sort of, when he's searching too much for them, then suddenly out of nothing a chance occurs, and he's got that attack. Very, very powerful, and sometimes also very steep. He can do both. The problem is if this game here, if there's no accuracy in that, then he's in trouble, but it's worked really well for him after the interval.
Yeah. Oh, good defense. Yeah, well played, Nishimoto.
The difference in touch from the front court, if you think back at Momota's shots from below the tape. The execution.
I was anticipating that as soon as Nishimoto turned to play the backhand from deep in courts, Vittinghus was waiting at the net. Watch Vittinghus's movement there, yeah.
And from a technical point of view, He might actually be half a step too close to the net. I mean, you don't have to be that close. You can just have your focus oriented at the net and easily be half step further back so that you're able to cover the backcourt in case you need that. Interception by Nishimoto.
13.
Big high lift. Oh, goodness, good defense.
When he misses this one.
Yeah, I was going to say, surely it's the wrong choice of shot as well. Nishimoto was waiting at the net.
But you can see it, Vittinghus, that he's so, why did I play that shot?
Yeah.
And we don't know why, and he doesn't know why. Just forget it and get on with it.
Yeah.
Play the next rally. Shuttle needed to change.
Yeah. Feathers ruffled up. When that happens, the shuttle becomes rather slow.
Play.
That's going wide. Yeah.
And it's not like Nishimoto isn't a little bit frustrated when he makes errors or something like that, but it's just you can see on his face that it takes 1-2 seconds and then he's focused on the next rally.
Yeah. Desperation retrieving. Huge effort there from Vittinghus, but paying dividends.
Wait, line cut.
Jubong's taking the tracksuit top off. It is very warm in this magnificent arena. Of times Vittinghus has caught Nishimoto deep in the backhand corner.
Yeah, it's been a good corner for him. Good body smash, but I think it would have gone long.
Yeah.
It signals to the coaches as well, Vittinghus, that probably should have tried to get out of the way.
Yeah, there's the steepness of the smash you were talking about.
And especially when he moves a little bit backwards, gets into a really good rhythm there.
To make of that. He's only caught back up and he was celebrating as if he'd won the game.
Yeah. It was a huge deficit at the interval, so...
yeah, and in fact he was 5-12 down.
Yeah.
Lost the first point after the interval. Now he's into the lead. Yeah, 19 all. Yeah, that's a clever smash towards the right hip of Vittinghus. And it is Kenta NISHIMOTO who has the game point opportunity. That was perfection in the placement. Yeah, the opening game to Kenta NISHIMOTO. Well, I said it at the time. I was concerned about the celebration when he got back to 18 all. But there is confirmation, 26 minutes for the opening game, 21-19 to Japan and NISHIMOTO.
Den står fantastisk. Ja. Hvor er du henne i forhold til første sætning? Fysisk står det stærkt. Plus harmonien, turen. Vi bruger bagbanen. Vi har fået ham flyttet langt nok frem. Og foran den der. Vi skal ikke jage bagbanen. Får vi fat i skud længere tidligt.
20 seconds. Hold one. 20 seconds.
So the players return to court. And that opening game really could have gone either way. Well, Nishimoto asking now if he can change his shirt, and the umpire rightly saying, no, you should have done that in the 2-minute timeout. As I was saying earlier, Steen, it is desperately difficult to hear what the coaches are saying. Did you manage to catch anything?
No, they were talking a little bit about the physics, that Vittinghus was really okay on the physical part of it. And something about moving him to the backcourt. Nishimoto would try to move Nishimoto to the backcourt after sort of dragging him forwards. So really couldn't make too much of it.
There's been a positive start. First couple of rallies from Vittinghus in their second game.
Yeah, and I think that's really, really important, because it's easy to be discouraged by losing the first game after catching up. But on the other hand, he has to remember that he was actually up 14-10 from the interval in the first game. So his game was basically working better after the interval. So if he can keep up that, then he could make a comeback here. The worrying thing for the Danes is that must have given Nishimoto a lot of confidence bagging that first game anyway, after being caught at 18-all.
Yeah. And that's the drift coming into play, the sideways drift. Brilliant.
And we can see that Vittinghus really bites on that little deception from Nishimoto, left stranded on the middle of the court.
I'm wondering about the drift again now, Steen.
Yeah. It's been very confusing, especially on this court one for the players, because the first day the sideways drift changed in the middle of the day, and we suspect that the alongside the court drift changed 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So the question is then, who benefits from the drift being really unpredictable? Well, in my opinion, players that are fast and players that hate it when the opponents play with accuracy. The unpredictable drifting condition prevents opponents from playing with accuracy.
Oh, yes, that's a fabulous angle on the smash. Outright winner. Forehand side, then deep in the backhand corner, and then smash cross court to the forehand again.
Thank you.
tension again. Mopper.
Vittinghus likes to serve fast. He's not comfortable on the low serve either, exactly as Victor Axelsen, so he doesn't want to wait too long and think too much about it.
Yeah,
A good variation. We've seen him successful with a couple of body smashes towards the end of the first game. This time the straight smash.
Is that what you were sort of alluding to in the opening game when you said to me that Nishimoto needs to learn to win matches without working so hard? Has he got to vary his shots more or develop more skills so that he hits more winners?
Yeah.
What were you really meaning about that?
If we compare him to Kenta NISHIMOTO, oh, we have a challenge.
Yeah.
But if we compare him to Kenta NISHIMOTO, then Momota doesn't move a lot, so he's got a little bit better shot quality. Nishimoto, he moves very well. Just indeed out. But he also uses a lot of energy on it. So being able to pick up these easy points that we saw Momota do against Victor Axelsen, that's really, really important.
Yeah.
It's like Momota's a little bit more calm when he's hit a shot, whereas it's like Nishimoto is sort of really trying to be as ready as possible. It seems to come natural. There's nothing about natural, but it seems to come natural for Kenta Momota.
Yeah.
So energy conserving, so to speak.
Oh, my goodness gracious me. What on earth was he thinking there? Yeah. Taps himself on the head. He disgusted himself. Oh, goodness me. Vittinghus wasn't expecting his opponent to get his racket to that. Yeah, it was only a half-court lift. Should have hit the floor, but look at that. Great anticipation to get his racket on it. The neck cord. Oh yes. Down, but certainly not out. Well, both players, I suspect, Steen, are working very, very hard. When you were talking about Momota and how he just has this aura and conserves energy in his movement, you know, since you said that, I've been watching both players. You know, and Vittinghus, as we know, is a great fighter, but he
works hard.
He also works really, really hard.
Thank you.
Basically, Vittinghus is where he wants to be, given that he was down 5-12 in the first game. This is the best he could expect, best he could hope for. Of course, he could have hoped for winning the first game, but it would have been a little bit too much to ask, perhaps. But now, sort of stop the rot, all level here in the second game.
Well, it is Nishimoto that has the advantage, but instead of the 6-point advantage he had in the opening game, it's just a 1-point advantage. Yeah, now he quickly changes his shirt. As the Japanese coaches work with their man, Kenta Nishimoto, with Vittinghus. Incidentally, Steen, have you noticed that it seems to be a requisite that to get in the singles squad for the Japanese men's singles, you have to have your given name beginning with K?
And best if it's Kenta.
Yeah, we've got a Kento for Momota, Kenta for Nishimoto, Kanta for Tsuneyama, and then of course Kasuma Sakai as well. Oh, it's just out. There's a challenge there.
I suspect that might have caught just the outer part of the line.
You're in a slightly better position than me to see that. Yeah, that was wrong on the line. Good challenge.
12-10, play. Play must be continued.
Missed it. Now, Steen, obviously we couldn't hear what Kenta Nishimoto was saying to Vittinghus. I'm interested to know what you would have said to Vittinghus in that coaching break.
Yeah. Very difficult, I think. But I think tried to play it just in front of Nishimoto on the front court without too much speed. And if he plays the front court, Vittinghus has to reach it really, really high in order to, most of the times, flick him to the back court and wait for lifts or clears that are not exactly the correct height, and then some change of pace with the attack. And when he attacks, he must follow up. Cannot leave chances out there on the front court. And got to eliminate shots like this, shots that are sort of recently learned shots. That's not going to work in this situation. There's a lot of mental pressure on Vittinghus here. Of course, there's also on Nishimoto. But so far over the whole match. I mean, he's just been the better player. Vittinghus has played an okay match, but started falling 7 points behind, and you can't allow yourself to do that. Gives the opponent confidence. Of course, I couldn't have said all that in the interval. But,
yeah.
And you can see here that it seems to me like exactly in the first game that Vittinghus is not really knowing how to score points against this Japanese player.
Yeah.
And now he's gotten so far away, Nishimoto, that I don't think he will get too nervous now. He wasn't playing the Thomas Cup either in 2014 or 2016. So it's his first Thomas Cup campaign. So you could have, had you stayed in touch, got a couple of points behind, he could perhaps become a little bit nervous. I don't think that's going to happen now. I think we're going to see him play better and better, and Vittinghus try harder and harder. So he needs a bit of luck on those hard tries, Vittinghus.
Oh, retrieved.
That's a good shot.
Yeah, couldn't do it a second time, but the run of points for Nishimoto comes to an end. 6 straight points it was, from 9-10 down to 15-10 up.
And it's those kind of attacks, the quick release of the racket, not much arm movement, that's the ones he needs, but he needs to also have patience. He cannot go for the winners, because then there's too big a chance that it will turn into errors.
Get ready quicker, don't delay the game, okay? Thank you.
I don't like that by the umpire. It's at least the 3rd time she's told him.
Yes.
So why do you have the yellow card?
Yeah. No, I agree.
And it sort of sets the standard, because then everybody is sort of extending the line a little bit. You know, okay, you can at least do it 2-3 times before you risk a yellow card. I hate that mistake. I really hate it, because it's a rally that Vittinghus is controlling, and playing with a bit more margin, he would have been able to win it in 3 or 4 shots probably.
Yeah.
Now it's a direct loser.
Yeah. I also didn't like his lift from the front of the court, because he let the shuttle drop so low.
Yes. It's basically, badminton is basically a game of stealing time from your opponent.
And you do that by taking the shuttle early on your side of the court.
Or putting small deceptions on, not big ones, because these are absolute top players in the world. They will not fall for big deceptions. They will just absorb them in the thighs. Good position for Nishimoto now.
Yeah. Now there's another.
And that's exactly what I'm meaning by saying he's trying too hard. He's going for the winners, and they will turn into losers.
And Nishimoto has just won 9 of the last 10 points. Make that 10 of the last 11 points. And Vittinghus has fallen to pieces from 10-9 up.
And it's a very telling way that Denmark is losing first and second men's singles.
Yeah. It's gone long, and it's match point opportunities.
It's a challenge from Vittinghus.
Oh, I saw that as clearly long.
Yeah.
JPN challengers called out. Wait,
Yeah, there was the challenge. Even Vittinghus
He forgot he challenged.
hasn't waited for Hawkeye. but surely it was clearly long. Well, it must have been a tactical challenge, and the tactic has worked because he's had a bit of a break.
He was signaling his coaches that it was way out.
Here we go. Indeed it was.
Challenge unsuccessful. 1 challenge remaining.
So match point
20,
opportunities.
Match point 11. Play.
Now, finally the
Service
run
over.
comes to an end, but 11 of the last 12 points prior to that one. This time, 21-12, having led 10-9. 12 of the last 14 points to Nishimoto. 50 minutes for that men's singles, and it means that Japan have a 2-1 lead in this semi-final tie against the defending champions, Denmark. There's the final rally. Yeah. And it is a disappointing way for VITTINGHUS to lose, because once again, as he did against Malaysia, he simply lost his way and fell to pieces.